Let's add more alcohol to the mix, I thought, even as I acknowledged the logic behind it. Alcohol wouldn't slow them down or mellow them out, but it would remind them of what it was like to be living, and that might shift them into a more amenable frame of mind. He really does know what he's doing, I mused, as the heavily scarred man in his early 30s moved gracefully to the stairway to beckon a bartender halfway up. His black hair was wavy and short about his ears, and his summer tan was already beginning to fade. No beard, but a midnight stubble gave him an attractive, bad boy cast. He was officially Constance's scion now that the undead vampire was no longer a mouse. I knew the arrangement was tasteless to both of them, for though the undead could survive on any living blood, they craved that of their living kin, and if it was taken from someone who loved them, it was almost enough to fill the hole the lack of a soul left. Hence the tradition of cultivating living vampiric scions to support their undead brethren. And whereas it was obvious that Pike didn't love Constance, he did enjoy the boost of power that sipping on undead vampire left in his veins. Though powerful in their own right, living vampires had only a portion of their undead kin's strength and pull. After almost a month of sharing blood with the undead, Pike had again regained the sexual lure and charisma he'd had when I'd first met him. I stifled a shudder, enjoying watching Pike move about the room as Victor prattled on. Living vampires were my Achilles heel. All the benefits of the undead and only half the risk. Pike was clearly off limits, not because he was out of my league, but because I knew better. And yet, as my gaze drifted back to him, I smiled, pleased to be able to call him my friend. His slacks were black, and his matching lightweight shirt was classy and sharp. Soft-soled shoes made his steps silent, and his limp hardly noticeable. The scars about his neck and arms, though, were mottled and obvious. They weren't the bedroom fun kind, rather the kill-you variety, and he took no pains to hide them. In short, Pike had had a very hard life evading his older brother's lethal intentions, which made the fact that one of them, the worst, was currently sitting in a beanbag chair in the corner all the more incredible. The older man focused on a handheld game with the intensity of a 10-year-old, but then again, Brad was down to about a 10-year-old's level of intellect, despite the man's temples beginning to gray and the first line showing about his eyes. My smile faltered at the flash of guilt. I needed an Atlantean mirror to break the curse I'd put on him. That I'd thought it was a white curse at the time was the only thing keeping me out of Alcatraz's high-security wing. Now even that excuse was running thin, and the coven of moral and ethical standards was on my case, again.
"Orange juice and a Bloody Mary,"
Pike said as he set the two drinks down, a soft shudder making his hands shake when he breathed in their mix of anger and smug satisfaction.
"That bitch of a woman stalked and lured my scion away."
The rim of brown around Victor's pupils narrowed further as his eyes went entirely black.
"I demand restitution. As the city master, Constance has a responsibility to see that I get restitution."
Pike eased to halt behind my chair, not in protection, but to watch the open stairway.
"You poor, deluded excuse of an undead,"
Bryce mocked.
"I didn't lure Sasha away from you. She came to me. You are a disgrace. No wonder you can't maintain a family." "Don't you dare talk about my family!"
Victor held his orange juice with a white-knuckled grip. Bryce shook her head, but it was exactly her seemingly reasonable attitude that rubbed me wrong. Still, I smiled at her, stifling my unease at her two long canines and her unreal grace. She was faster than me, too.
"Poor Sasha,"
the undead woman said.
"Victor had been neglecting her. She wanted more aggressive bedroom play, and he couldn't provide." "That's not true."
Victor's face went bloodless, tension pulling him to a dangerous stiffness.
"I loved Sasha. Her virus levels weren't sufficient for what she wanted to give me. We were slowly increasing them. She knew that. I didn't want to hurt her. I loved her."
Eyes narrowed, he focused on Bryce stretching languorously in the chair like a lioness.
"And you killed her twice, before her time."
Yes.